Yeah.
because I'm usually the one to do the tech, but
Who's the facilitator today?
Sophia.
don't know.
Ah, mais moi. Yeah. Oui,
Don't
oui, oui.
know.
Hello,
Anyway, it's
Samantha.
it's time. So
Your
let's.
line, Sophia.
Are
Hey.
we live, Christ, mate?
Yes, you said you're ready.
I
I,
know, but you didn't actually tell us that we were live. But anyway,
it just goes.
Um,
okay, we're live.
Well, shut up, Messi.
We're fine. All right, good. So anyway, so welcome to a very interesting and what a wonderful start to today's Wisdom Circle, Beyond the Medicine Cabinet, the Path of Soul Medicine. This is a topic that is extremely close to my heart. Of course, my name's Sophia from Sacred You, and I have the absolute honor and joy of not only about presenting these wisdom circles, but today I'm really kind of stepping out of the box and coming out behind the tech and facilitating this wonderful conversation. And like I said, to me, it's a topic close to my heart because I've been through so many medical experiences and went down when I was young the path of, not allopathic, your traditional medicines as in today, the pharmaceuticals and everything else, but yet our body, our body knows the wisdom, our body has the medicine. And that's what I really want to get into today's topic and conversation. So before we start, let me introduce or allow these beautiful women who have joined us from all over the world to say hello and share a little bit about themselves. So, Christine, would you like to start and tell us a little bit about yourself and what interests you in today's topic?
Oh, my own personal journey. But before I start that, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area in the United States, and I am a practical mystic. That is, I live in both worlds, in the mystical realm and also in the 3D world. So my conversation is really based upon practicality, how we can adopt those ethereal conversations into our life to sort of give us a broader perspective, and a sort of an insight into something that can't be seen.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Definitely want to know more about you and everything else, your experience. Ashley, who's also here for the first time. Christine's new, and Ashley, thank you for joining us. Tell us about yourself.
Yes, for sure. Well, hello, beautiful souls. My name is Ashley, and my life's work has been about bridging the gap between the physical vessel and the spiritual self. So, by formal training, I am a degreed health scientist, which gave me a profound reverence for the miraculous, intricate mechanics of our bodies. But science alone didn't hold all the answers for me and for true deep healing. So, that realization led me to return to the earth's ancient wisdom as a certified herbalist and to the power of the mind as a certified NLP life and health coach. So I believe that true wellness, going beyond the medicine cabinet, happens when we seamlessly align our cellular biology and the healing vibration of nature and our subconscious beliefs. So I am just so honored to share this sacred space with you all today.
Thank you. We are honored that you are here too and want to definitely know more about your whole experience. Right? It's incredible. Thank you. Samantha, our beautiful Samantha, who's another facilitator of our wisdom circles. Thank you for joining us today. What interests you in?
Hello. Um, what interests, so I help parents of neurodivergent children to go from overwhelm and stress to having a more fulfilling and joyful life. And I have always trusted natural remedies and nature and my own body over, ever since I started thinking about it, over what they call allopathic medicine, I suppose. However, I had an experience last year. I had to go to hospital and I had an incredibly healing experience. It's like spiritually, emotionally. So it changed the way I saw this as very black and white previously. So this is why the topic really interests me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And our beautiful and amazing Sarah has returned again. I'm excited to have you here, Sarah. Tell us again about yourself and, what brings you to Beyond the Medicine Cabinet.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Sophia. Sarah Roccasano. I'm an author, motivational speaker, and the founder of Embolden Adventures, a transformational platform that inspires personal, professional, and spiritual development. And I love the topic soul medicine beyond the medicine cabinet. I think this is where we are trending toward as we ascend in consciousness. We are realizing that there is more beyond just the way that the industrial pharmaceutical world is telling us how we need to be in order to be healthy. And for me, a lot of that interest lies with the plant medicines and working with the shamans around the world, the indigenous wisdom keepers. So I've worked a lot with these various medicines, and it's helped me heal from the world that I left, the corporate matrix, for so long in New York City. So I'm happy to have a conversation tonight about this.
Good. Thank you. I want to know more about your plant medicine experiences too, because it is all part of natural healing and soul medicine that I believe. Thank you. Jo, our beautiful Jo, who again is another facilitator. Thank you for joining us, Jo.
You're welcome. You're
Brings
welcome.
you here today.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, this is a great topic, isn't it? And for me personally, brought up 4 children on my own, but from the very beginning, when I left home at 17, I started to explore alternative ways to heal. So it's just been a part of my journey. And because I saw the evidence of that, bark flowers, medicine that is out of the norm, and using that with my own children was phenomenal through all their, ailments and experiences of ill health, specifically asthma. So I'm a real believer that we can heal ourselves from the alternate way. And I still also, like Samantha said, there is a place for modern medicine in some situations. However, I actually haven't really seen a doctor for many years other than the, normal women stuff. But yeah, I love this because I guess people don't realize how powerful their bodies are and the wisdom of their bodies, how they can tune in and listen to what their body needs. Trained in NLP, I'm master NLP and hypnosis practitioner, results coach, and in personal and business, and a regression therapist. But I really help, women come home to themselves, specifically women in business, solopreneurs and business who struggle with, being the woman they want to be and landing the money they want to create. So that's where my energy is going at the moment. But yeah, love the wellness and nutrition, everything health and spiritual evolvement over the last 40 years. So thank you for having me, and I'm excited to hear everybody's wisdom today.
Thank you, Jo, and I am also excited to hear everyone's wisdom. And can I say, Jo, just you are a walking example. You vibrate health, and I know you've recently been you've taken time for yourself, for your own soul medicine, and it is showing, you're shining. So
Thank you.
to honor you and honor everyone else who is joining us today. Let's start off just by grounding. Let's just have a few moments, not long, of just meditation, just even putting our hands on our heart and just breathing into our heart, just getting out of that head space and into our heart space, into the soul. Just tuning into what medicine that our soul wants to share today. Nice deep belly breathing. Just slowly coming back. And talking of soul medicine, what I'd like to start the conversation with is when you hear those words, soul medicine, what does come to your heart? What is your heart wanting to share, to speak? What truly is the medicine of the soul? And anyone who would like to start, just come off mute. Just to know, I should have said this at the beginning. If you're off mute, I'm going to pick on you. So Christine, my beautiful, you're very first, but you're off mute. Would you like to share? I know I'm putting you on the spot. What does soul medicine mean for you? Let's have a conversation.
When you have it, for me, my personal experience is when you are really connected to your body, this organic matter. Your body is such an amazing mechanism because it heals itself. It's always trying to bring you back to homeostasis. You know, even when you are not paying attention, it'll try and yank you back so that you can maintain your health and your vibrancy. And my personal experience is I was diagnosed with diabetes 3 years ago, and I did it the Western way. And my history in my life is that my grandmother had had a stroke and my mom had her legs amputated. So, you know, there was just this huge um, confrontation for me about fear and about what it would do to my body and, you know, watching them struggle and I've just really taken a different approach to that. Like now that I've got my blood sugars sort of dialed in with the Western way, I realize my body is rejecting it and it doesn't like it. And you know, I've had a lot of digestive issues. And so I've really been listening to my body about what it wants, about what it doesn't like, um, using Western medicine very sparingly and embracing Chinese medicine, the map of the energetic fields and of the body. And I also am practice Ayurveda. So there's a lot of overlapping in finding out the fields and how to make them work efficiently. And I'm also a sound healer, so I use tuning forks on the Chinese meridians to fill the channel if there's, you know, gaps in there. And I've been doing it now on myself, practicing regularly. I think probably now I'm on like 12 weeks. And I can feel the shift in my body. And even though my numbers may not reflect what Western medicine agree, you know, says that this is healthy, I can tell in myself. I can tell the way I breathe. I can tell how my hands and my feet are showing up. And the way that I've been metabolizing starches and such carbohydrates, like they're they're not the same way, you know. I'm also trying to find the metabolic key to turn back on and reduce insulin resistance. So my body has that rhythm. I was an athlete before and know, you know, how I fell off and know what that felt like. And now I'm, you know, getting back in alignment and I can feel where my chi was before. So yeah, your body will tell you if you
Wonderful.
listen.
Congratulations. And yes, totally agree. Our body will tell us when we tune in. Our bodies are our best doctors. So thank you and congratulations. And ditto to using tuning forks and sound healers. I also, you know, sound, I say sound is my medicine. That's the one that my body loves aligned.
Yeah.
Anything to do with sound. So thank you.
It's really interesting when you strike a fork
Yes.
and you place it on the body or you listen to it,
Yes.
like your heart, my heart just sort of opens up and gobbles up the frequency and it feels happy.
Yes.
So
Yes. Agree with you totally. All right, Ashley, you've come off mute again. So would you like to share what for you is the medicine of the soul? What's your heart saying?
I guess the first thing, well, first I actually relate to Christine. I actually had something similar where I went to the doctor and they said that I was at risk for diabetes. And my mother had type 2 diabetes. My grandmother also had diabetes. So that was my first, I guess, moment where I was just like, hey, I have to do something. But also, similarly, I actually get nauseous when I take certain pills. And then, like you said, nothing is wrong with that. But for me, it just was really irritating to my gut. I noticed certain side effects, and I actually was feeling like I was getting worse. And so I really dialed in. As a health scientist, I always go a little deep into my research, but it really magnified the spirit of plants for me. So when you take plant medicine, in my opinion, you are inviting nature's ancient intelligence into your own cellular structure, basically to help you remember to heal, because our bodies are able to heal and to heal faster. And we have everything that we need here on earth to get through whatever health journey we are on. So when we go into a modern medicine cabinet, we are taking, I guess I get a little sciencey here, we're taking isolated chemical compounds, but in herbalism or plant medicine, we are not just consuming a chemical, we are interacting with the life force, the vibration, and the spirit of the plant. So for me, the first thing that came to mind was the spirit of plants. You know, herbs aren't just natural chemicals, they are conscious allies in our healing. And it's just a constant reminder for me of that.
Thank you.
Can I add to that? I just wanted to say that, that's the beauty of Ayurveda. When you understand that you are part of nature, that you're an expression, your nervous system is an expression of nature, and you understand how you vibrate and the frequency of that, there's this whole plethora of amazing herbs and the frequency of herbs that can bring you back into alignment. So yeah,
Absolutely.
Ashley, we're hand in hand on this.
For sure.
Thank you for that, Ashley, and I totally agree. We're going to find out, go much more into plant medicine and everything, because it's so natural. Nature has medicine available to us in abundance if we just look. We're going to. Now, everyone is off mute, which is wonderful. So I'm going to pick on Joe to start with, and then we'll go to the beautiful.
I was going to echo exactly what Christine said about the frequency of of nature and the herbs and the medicine from there. But also, when we go back before modern medicine, that's all there was,
Yes.
right? And so we're coming back to what is actually, I guess normal, and how powerful that can be if you take the time to listen and learn what's available to us outside of that. And for me, it was all about staying healthy. But I remember the pivotal moment that I made a decision, and things can change in that moment of decision. And it was when my mother got very ill. I just had my fourth child, and she was my back, and she got really ill. And it was only about 9 months after she was ill, she passed away at 61. And I decided at that time that I would never let that happen to myself or any other woman that I knew, that I came in contact with. And that's when I dove really deeply into nutrition. And I think nutrition, again, coming from the plants, coming from the earth. And actually, last week I had a whole week of Ayurvedic medicine in a yoga retreat. It was just phenomenal. You can feel the life force when you're eating this way. But yeah, I just was just blown away that when that happened um, to her, it wasn't just because she was right into modern medicine. I was alternate, but I felt like the stress was the main issue for her. Like, so it's not just our physical health, but actually the food that we eat can actually help our stress as well. But stress is a big one that we need to pay attention to. And I guess that's where you're talking about, Ashley, feeling into how you're feeling, what's coming up for you in any given moment, and addressing it from the root and really nourishing yourself by giving yourself the time to be still and tuning in to what your body needs at any given time. And this has really been a powerful experience because although it was a horrible experience, but it was very powerful for me to really come home and start working with nutrition and helping others from there to keep their stress levels, to keep their nervous systems in check so that they could feed and nourish it with what it needed. But yeah, that was just an experience that came up when you were talking there. Like the diabetes, my dad had diabetes, same. Okay, how can we heal this from a different level and tuning into what your body needs? So yeah, that was just something I had to share.
Thank you, Jo. Thank you for sharing that. And it's such a wonderful thing, or, to be able to have that choice now, or to know, I'm going to say, to know that we have that choice. I think we've always had those choices, but to really know that, we do not have to go down the traditional, I was going to say homeopathic, the traditional pharmaceutical route, the medical route, that we do have other options available. So thank you for that. And Sarah's muted herself. So what about Samantha? We'll come back to you, Sarah. Samantha, what about you?
Yeah, thank you. Lots of threads that I'm picking up on in my own life, and a reminder about how I came to Ayurveda was that I was studying yoga therapy, and I became very unwell, but in a very strange way. I just felt like I'm dying. I think I was very extremely Vata. The air ether element was really out of balance in me, which is what Vata increases as we get closer, as we get older and older, which is it's more subtle, and then eventually we die. So we go to spirit completely. But I felt I was still, in my 20s, and I didn't know what was going on. And I'd never been sick ever. Um, and then I thought, well, what am I going to do now? Go to a doctor? How? And I just remember very clearly thinking, how can a doctor know more about me than I know about me? So that was my starting point. And I'm just really, I was really, it's not arrogant, but extreme. Like, I think I was pretty extremist and radical in my approach um, back then and for a lot of my life. I was very black. It was like there was just no way. I had absolutely no belief and no trust in pharmaceutical drugs or doctors or hospitals. It was all like, to me, that was like the dark side. But so what I did is I said, well, I've got to figure out what's going on inside me. And as I learned the Ayurveda, it all was like, it just all fell into place. Oh, okay, Vata's out of balance. So I started drinking. I had access to a beautiful farm where they illegally sold unpasteurized milk. And I used to go and get the fresh milk, and I just started drinking um, really pure cow's milk, and my body started to get stronger. And it was just such a simple accessible thing to do. And I started healing. Yeah. So that was, and if you look at the qualities of a cow, a cow that's been really well treated and given love, a cow is very loving kind of animal. It's very generous, it's very giving, it's slow and steady and heavy. So it gives all of those qualities in its milk. And those were the qualities I really needed because I was empty after giving a child. I was getting too thin. I was all the opposites, like fast thinking, overthinking, all of those things can be balanced by kapha, which milk
Like
is very
I love that your intuition told you to drink milk because it is very caustic and it's fat, it's fat producing, and you just automatically knew like you needed to drink that. I think that wisdom is amazing.
Yeah,
Mhm. Well, I
for
learned
sure.
that through Ayurveda. I wouldn't have, even though you'd think it's a natural thing, but I wouldn't have known to do that until I learned about the three doshas in
Yeah,
Ayurveda. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you for sharing that. It's wonderful to hear that we're able to, as you know, as Christine and everyone said, that you're able to listen to your body, to really tune in. And our body is our greatest healer, as we all know, and the best doctor. Now, Sarah, what about you? Tell us about, what does soul medicine mean for you?
Well, it's joyous. So I'll give you an example. I have many to say, but this morning, because it's Sunday night here, I'm in Connecticut. I'm in a small town. I live in the woods. And small town means small town doing. So on Facebook this morning, I had a chuckle because speaking of cows, there were five loose in someone's house somewhere Sunday morning. And of course, they called the cops. And the small town cops showed up, and then they called the state trooper. And then the state trooper showed up. And they're like, someone lost their cows. Someone please call the state troopers barracks. Come get them. And let the cows come home. So a good chuckle for the heart. But soul medicine, what is soul medicine? I follow Light Warrior Mel D. She's on TikTok. She has done a channeled reading for me. Her name's Mel Lawson, and she has her daily YouTube updates, and I follow her pretty regularly. And she made mention this week about the soul being here in the heart.
Yes.
And your third eye is really where your wisdom is to perceive this three-dimensional world. So she suggested bringing your left hand and touching your third eye, and your right hand and touching your heart to create a circuit where it could grow and enhance and bring together, the wisdom and your soul. And for me, what is soul medicine? So it's the heart. And I worked with Wachuma, which is a heart opener. And Wachuma is from the cactus family. It's the cousin to peyote. And I worked with Wachuma with the lineage holder, recognized by the government of Ecuador as the premier protector of the plant, the cactus. And last year, around this time, we were down in Peguche, Ecuador, on the equator near Otavalo, a very famous old market. And where we were on the equator, the way that the Earth is, it bulges at the equator. So we were at 10,000 feet in elevation at the top of a volcano. So we're even higher now. We're at one of the very high points on Earth because of the bulge. And we were there during what was, just after the summer solstice. So the sun is at the apex at the equator, I believe, and it's bulge, and we're on the top of the 10,000 feet high volcano. And we work with the heart opener
Wow.
medicine in the traditional um ceremonies with the Quichua people and my shaman Tuamari. So this is actually a ring I got there, handmade in silver of the Star people. So the Iohuma ceremony is going on at that time, which is a reverence for the sun during the solstice. And so I worked with the heart opening medicine, and my heart, the area was all tense. It was hurting. And I turned to one of my friends who has had experience with this, and I said, "Why am I gripping so much? What's going on? It's supposed to be a heart opener. It's supposed to be joyous. It's supposed to be freeing." And she looked at me and she goes, "Because your heart is opening. The soul is expanding. Your soul is finally becoming alive again. For all this time, it was like this, held within in the chakra, hidden away, like a gripping. And when you grip, you get white knuckles, and that means there's no blood flow. So when you release and expand, the blood starts to flow again and it feels like it hurts. But that's only because it's expanding and it's expanding outward, and I'm healing my soul, becoming more of me. My higher power is coming in because I'm aligned with the sun at the most highest apex at the time, a very sacred ceremony that the Quichua people celebrate. So that to me was soul medicine, and it definitely is going in a book for sure.
Definitely. We will look forward to reading that. Thank you so very much. And let us know which chapter, which book it is. and which chapter. Thank you, Sarah. Irene, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to be putting you on the spot because we had you just joined us now. We're actually having a conversation about what is soul medicine for you. I'd love to know from your point of view, what is the medicine of the soul mean?
Oh, that is really putting me on the spot. A lot of the work that I do is obviously around nutrition. I'm a clinical nutritionist, and I see a lot of people who are under a lot of pressure, under a lot of stress, and I could really relate to that tensioning that the previous speaker was talking about, with that the heart being closed, with the white knuckling, and biochemically, there's a lot that happens in the body when that's occurring. For example, when the person is feeling really, really stressed, the body has a fight or flight system, and it doesn't really differentiate between being in actual danger or just being emotionally stressed. And what tends to happen is all the resources that would normally go towards digestion or making those happy hormones that make us feel really happy and make us feel good, make us want to have a relationship with somebody, that all goes into a different area, and it goes into creating these stress hormones, and the precursor for making the happy hormones are the same as making the stress hormones. And so what tends to happen is this fight or flight system doesn't get turned off, and digestion therefore doesn't occur properly. Nutrient absorption doesn't happen properly. Hormones start to become unbalanced, so the wrong hormones are being made. So those sex hormones that then go on to create the melatonin that help us to sleep well, they don't get created properly. And so then we have sleep disruption, then we have cellular health or cellular repair doesn't happen. So there's this huge knock-on effect all the way through, and then mental health starts to come into play. So I'm not sure if that really answers your question, but I look at things more from a biochemical point of view, and watch the wheels start to fall off for people when they're, I guess, not connected to themselves. They're worrying about things all the time, whether it's worrying about family, money, relationships. And it just has this devastating knock-on effect that happens biochemically all the way through.
Absolutely, thank you. It does answer. So very true, because we live in this world, of perceived stress. I'm going to say perceived because we create it.
Yes, yes.
In our mind, and we don't realize the effect that it's having us. And also we're talking about, before you join us, a little bit about how a lot of our families have had diseases and stuff, and they've gone down I'm going to say the pharmaceutical way, the doctor. And I, if I can say for me, I was just thinking about, when you have our traditional indigenous cultures,
Yes.
treat illnesses naturally. They don't go down the road and get a pill. But in those times, there wasn't all the illnesses and diseases that we have now since medications come about.
That's exactly right.
Not
Yeah.
sure.
And my treatments, obviously I use food a lot in my treatment plans. I might use nutritional supplements to rebalance what needs rebalancing, but I often also use herbs to treat things like the nervous system to calm things down, and also homeopathy as well, looking at constitutional remedies,
Yes.
remedies that can help to take the edge off of that stress. And obviously referring to, other types of counseling or support to help people to deal with the stresses that we have in our modern society.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Ashley, would you like to add anything? Because you're off mute, and Joe.
Oh, well, yeah, I kind of want to follow up. As a NLP coach, one of the most profound things I teach is that our words and thoughts literally create our biology, which kind of reminds me of the subconscious pharmacy, if I could give it a term. Every time you think a thought, your brain releases neurochemicals that cascade through your entire body. And so if you are harboring the limiting beliefs or trauma, or your body is bathed in stress hormones, you are constantly operating your own internal pharmacy. So I think sometimes we just have to be aware that our cells are always eavesdropping on our thoughts. And simply as just having a thought, how that can disrupt our whole entire nervous system or biology. And so just remembering that our bodies itself, our subconscious is a pharmacy itself. So it's being more intentional, I think came to mind while everyone was speaking, being more intentional, being more deliberate on what we are thinking, and remembering that we are our best doctor first. When you go into the doctor's office, they ask you, what are you feeling? They don't do anything until you can say what's happening, unless it's a, serious issue. And so we have to be able to be aware, to be in tune of what we feel, and to honor that by expressing it, and also finding remedies. And a lot of times it can be as simple as going outside. The one thing that I have learned, especially in environmental engineering, is that the ground creates what you need. And a lot of times we don't take the time to honor that. Going outside barefooted is as simple as that can create natural herbs, and weeds will start growing because now you have touched it and you have created or put your DNA. If you spit, if you sweat, any of these things, you can create, the earth will create what you need. And so just trusting that, but also trusting ourselves to listen to ourselves and know that we know what's best. And when we don't know, that the divine will put whoever and whatever in our path to help us on this journey. And so as everyone's talking, I was just thinking how the subconscious is our pharmacy as well.
Totally is, totally agree. And yes, as Samantha's saying, our cells are constantly eavesdropping on our thoughts, and it's so very true.
Mm.
The times I hear people say, I'm so sick of life, but they don't actually realize why they're getting so sick. Is because it's just, and that's just the basic. It's a very basic example. There's so much that we've got to be really careful about what we're saying to our bodies and ourselves. Thank you, Joe.
Yes, your word is your wand. Your word is your wand has been a theme lately around my women, and we have to be so aware. But what I want to say is, Irene, you are so speaking my language. Before you came on, I spoke about how nutrition is so imperative to our healing, and I'm a true example of that, because when my mum passed away and then my husband walked out when I was 6 months pregnant back then in my late 20s, I was in the pits of despair. I don't like to use the word depression because I think despair is, the reality of it. And it was nutrition that turned my life around within a very quick, period of time. Changing my diet, giving myself the optimum nourishment, the supplements that I wasn't getting because I was so deeply, down on myself, and the words I started reciting that I put on the wall in my kitchen to pull myself out from Louise L. Hayes's book. I spoke it every morning to try and, change this, but I was feeding my body as the foundation, and then the mind was able to reciprocate and embody those words. So it's very powerful working with, like you say, Ashley, the subconscious. What are we holding? And taking the time to really go there, really listen to what we need to hear within us, because we know. But I think most of the time we just don't take that time. So, meditation, walking on the earth bare feet, Sarah, yes, absorbing the nutrients from the ground and embodying all of it, being in nature, breathing. Sophia, when you did that breath work just at the beginning, that alone is food for the soul. Simple, simple little things repeated over and over is life changing. And yeah, I just wanted to share. Thank you, Irene, and all of you. That's been beautiful.
Thank you, Joe. And
So one of the hacks, speaking to what Joe just said, one of the hacks that I give my clients is when we're trying to change our speakingness to ourselves, like we are very punitive. We have no problems with beating ourselves up, but it's a completely different thing when we have to embrace our radiance, our brilliance, and in our lives, we probably weren't lucky enough to have people speak greatness to us. We always had parents or whoever, teachers, always sort of tearing us down. So one of the things I do is I ask my clients to write 10 to 20 things that they love about themselves. And it's not about the doingness, but it's more about the beingness. And I have them post it on their mirror, and then I have them speak it into their phone. And the first thing they wake up is they get to hear their voice speaking their greatness. And then they get to go to the mirror, in the bathroom and read their greatness. And then at lunch, they get to listen to their greatness. And we do that for, 20 to 30 days. And it really creates the shift in our heart to give up that punitive speaking and to hold the space of our greatness, our radiance, our love, our sacredness. And it's so important. Like one of the things for me and the reason I got diabetes is because I had that terrible thinking, and I got caught in an injury where I couldn't really move, and I was feeling really old, and I was just like felt really disenfranchised and was feeling sorry for myself, and ta-da! Yeah, I had type 2 diabetes. And I really got clear that it was from my thinking, my foggy, terrible thinking that brought that on. And so I worked very diligently at knowing what my greatness is. And of course, I'm human, so I fall back into those old patterns, but I'm really trying to hold that resonance. And when we don't clear our bodies, it's really hard to hold that greatness. So there's a lot of breath work, there's a lot of movement, to be able to expand ourselves in such a way that we can hold that frequency.
Yeah, I really love what you're saying, Christine. That totally makes a lot of sense for me and a lot of my clients that I see as well. I see a lot of weight issues, diabetes, and this constant need to be a certain size, a certain weight. More from pressure from society. Oh, I'm overweight. So they come to me and they say, I want a weight loss program. And I say, sorry, that's not what I do. I look at the whole body. I look at the way you're thinking, the way you're, being in this world. And, anyone can do a diet plan and you might lose a little bit of weight, but that's not actually getting to the core problem. And I too also use a lot of breath work with my clients as well. I encourage them to take some really nice deep breaths, especially before a meal, because if your body is in that fight or flight mode, it's not going to digest properly. It's not going to absorb those
Right.
nutrients. So I'm encouraging them, even if they just spend 5 minutes before a meal saying grace or giving thanks for the meal that's in front of them, eating mindfully, consciously, rather than just, oh, I'm hungry, wolfing something down while they're on the go, while they're driving, while they're watching TV, but actually to be present with that meal, be present with their family, take some deep breaths, turn that nervous system off. You only need to take 5 really good, nice deep breaths with a long exhalation breath for your body to say, oh, I'm not under threat.
Right.
Oh, okay. Great.
Right.
I'll turn that system off and we'll digest this meal in a nice way. And, same with the stress response. The body is not going to let go of weight if it's feeling under threat. It's going to hold on to everything. And so sometimes by doing the things like you mentioned, walking in nature, whether it's barefoot or just being in nature and just taking a moment to just breathe and settling the body down will help so much with that absorption of nutrients and changing the real in your mind, like you've been saying, finding your greatness within yourself.
And thank you so
Yeah.
much,
Oh,
Irene. One
I'm
second,
sorry.
sorry, just thank you so much, Irene, for sharing that. And Christine, really, I just want to, ditto to everything that you said. But I'm just also aware that Samantha and Sarah and also Ashley would like to add something too. So Samantha, would you like to add anything to this amazing conversation?
I'm I'm happy actually just listening. And yeah, we can also get really stressed because health has been a priority for me. I can get stressed thinking that I'm not doing enough or I'm not doing the right things, which I think is just as harmful as actually doing the wrong things. Getting worried that I'm doing the wrong things. And last year at this time in winter, I ended up going to hospital. It was the first time I'd been to hospital since I had to give birth by cesarean 28 years before. And I didn't like what they did and gave me there at all. But what happened, and I think I was there for 24 hours or less in the end. I just wanted to get out. But I really felt this is a place of healing. And I had never experienced a hospital like that. And I just had such a strong sense that, God is here, Spirit is here, and maybe even more present than out there because people are so I think people are closer to God when they're in hospital because they're being forced to be. And while I find it's uncomfortable talking about God and putting things like that into word. It just changed my whole understanding and perception of healing, and it's really what it's a spiritual thing, and it can come through in so many different ways. It can be the plants, but it can also be the surgeon's knife or the incredible kindness and dedication of those nurses, or just meeting someone in hospital who, like I ended up chatting to the woman in my ward and massaging her feet and just I knew I was going to be comforted by giving her comfort. So yeah, there's many, many ways.
Many ways.
And it's important, I think, just lastly to say, important for me to learn that being dogmatic and, it's got to be natural, it's got to be 100% natural. And that kind of approach is not as life-serving for me.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Samantha. Just take a moment to honor you too, because, even helping other people is medicine for the soul.
Exactly.
Stuff. So Thank you for sharing that. And there is a place, I mean, we've all mentioned there is a place for hospitals and medicines and stuff, but it's within balance. And I think, as we've all said again, our bodies know what it wants. I still, I was born with a genetic condition. I've been in hospital many times. I've had 30-something operations because it was needed. Right. But then now at that stage it was needed, but now it's like, okay, if you listen to your body, it will tell you if it wants to go down that path or if it wants to go down a more natural path and to investigate, like our food. Food is a huge thing for me. And like sound and breath work and everything else, that they are also very natural healers. And in some cases, not all, in some cases, so much more powerful, depending, but thank you. Before we wrap up too, Sarah, would you like to add anything?
Yes, I'd like to first thank Ashley for bringing up the subconscious and then having a conversation about that, because when I worked with ayahuasca, which is a very, very powerful plant medicine in the psychedelic realm, I've worked with Aya 10 times. And the last time I got goosebumps, so I could feel her. Last time I worked with her is in December on the solstice here in Connecticut. Oops. Somewhere in Connecticut. And I connected with my higher power. I heard her tell me, I am you, you are me, we are one. And that's where the power of the subconscious, I think, is really important to underscore, because I did a lot of work with a quantum mindset coach in that same time in December. And Christine's right, like there are important ways to work with the subconscious to reprogram it, because the programming in this matrix programs it to be very negative. It's a way to control us, to control humanity. So when you circumvent that switch and you twist it and reprogram it to the positive, you can now work with a very powerful ally that is your higher power. And so, really, some of the work I've been doing is, along with what Christine has mentioned, I talk to myself in the mirror, stare in my eyes for 10 minutes, speak in the present. I am is extremely important. I am love. I love myself. And then I write left-handed for an hour on a whiteboard. And
Oh,
those are ways to reprogram the subconscious as well.
break it. Yeah.
And what you do in any sort of thing that you're really working with, whether it's health issues or uh, problems in your life and you need solving, you throw it up to the higher consciousness, because it will work with you in another realm and figure it out. So, and with Source Creator. So you trust, you surrender, you give it a job, and you walk away. And your brain wants to know the how, but you have to surrender to the how and trust that it's going to give you the answer in a way that's even more brilliant than you could ever think. So reprogram that subconscious. I am you, you are me, we're allies. I work with you, you figure it out on my behalf, help me heal, and let's do this together in this thing called life.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so very, very, very much. And thank you, everyone. And I would, Ashley, are you wanting to add anything before we go to the final thing of wrapping up? Which we
I'm sure. I'll just kind of follow up with saying that it takes 21 days to develop a new habit, to reprogram our mind. So sometimes I know we may hate the word consistency, but that is sometimes needed to at least try to be consistent. Of course, with what you were saying, Sophia, that conventional medicine is very wonderful for acute trauma, but for chronic issues, to me, it kind of often acts like turning off the fire alarm while the house is still burning.
yes,
Like going beyond the medicine cabinet requires the courage to look for the fire itself in that analogy. Often the physical ailment is just the final manifestation of an emotional, spiritual, or energetic block that was ignored for too long. So a symptom is just your body's way of tapping you on the shoulder before it starts yelling at you in a way. And also, as far as just even reclaiming our feminine intuition, for thousands of years, women were the original healers, the midwives and the village herbalists. we intuitively knew the rhythm of the earth and our bodies. So over the last few centuries, we've been kind of conditioned. I remember someone mentioning that, being conditioned to outsource, our healing to institutions, and ignore our own inner voice. And so healing today is basically like an act of reclaiming that ancestral feminine knowing. Your intuition is your most accurate diagnostic tool, if I can put that in a word. But I definitely would just choose ritual over routine. We are so used to the routine of health, right? Swallow a vitamin, take a herbal powder, a supplement, and rush out the door, eat a salad. But what if we
Well,
shifted from routine to ritual? What if making our herbal infusions, our nutrition decisions better, and make that to actually become a 5-minute meditation? What if we spoke a word of gratitude to our body as we are nourishing it? It's the exact same action, but the energy behind it definitely shifts our biology from stress to receptivity. So
I
routine is
think
about getting things done, but ritual is about being present while doing them.
it does amazing things. So thank you. And Christine, just one.
I just wanted to say, like when we look at modern society, it's all about a disconnection. It's a disconnection to ourselves, to others, the level of intimacy that we have. And when we talk about healing ourselves, what I didn't say earlier is that in Chinese medicine and in Ayurveda, there's no such thing as diabetes. There's no such thing as cardiovascular disease. What there is the wind in the body, vata, which is an invitation to 100 different diseases that show up. And so when we pacify the vata in our body, the wind, it calms us down. It calms our nervous system down. It allows us to be connected to ourselves. And that's really the truth about Beyond the Medicine Cabinet is the connection that we have with ourselves and the love that we emanate for ourselves. And when we can do that deeply, we give that to others freely. So yeah, Ashley, it's like so powerful and
All right.
I'm all about that.
Thank you, Christine, and thank you, everyone. And I do have to be aware that we're now at the end of our hour. It's been an incredible conversation, and I really want to thank each and every one of you for being here because, it's just this is only the start. So I invite you back to the next conversation, which is in a couple of months' time, if you'd like to join us for part two, because as we've all said, to me, the medicine cabinet is like putting a band-aid on stuff, but it's the medicine for the soul is ripping off that band-aid and healing the wound from within. So before we finish, I'd love to go around everyone just one last time, and whether if you want to put your hand on your heart or your third eye, and I'd love to know if your soul could prescribe just one thing for you this week. One medicine that you'd like to share to the world, what would that be? Samantha, you're off mute, my dear. I'm going to ask you first.
Well, my primary medicine is stillness and solitude.
Yes. Thank you. And I was going to ask you, but if we get time, we'll come back to that. Thank you. And for you also, being in nature. So thank you for sharing that. Ashley, what about you? What's your one thing that your soul is prescribing?
I think it's prescribing that healing isn't always about becoming someone new. It's about unlearning who you were taught to be.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Jo?
Yeah, just for me, it's about slowness and what Samantha said, stillness, but slowness and connection to your soul, what it's needing every single day. What do I need today? What is my energy? What does my best energy look like today for me?
And being in the moment.
Mm.
Irene, for you, what's one thing that your soul would like to prescribe?
My soul would like to prescribe that You are enough. We are enough. I am enough. Um, I feel with the work that I do, not just in nutrition, but the other work that I do, that sometimes we're judged and we're ridiculed. But saying to myself, and I encourage my clients to say, you are enough. You are
And
a
that is,
gift to this world, and you are absolutely enough.
thank you. And we all are enough. Absolutely. And I know Joe has to leave, so I just want to honor everyone. Sarah, before we go, would you like to add anything? What's your soul prescribing?
Balance and rest.
Thank you. Christine, what's your soul prescribing for you for this week?
Acts of kindness.
Love.
Make kindness your currency.
Thank you. See, there's so much that we haven't even mentioned, kindness and being, stillness. We didn't even go into the medicine of stillness and laughter. Sarah, you mentioned laughter, but laughter is such a huge medicine. We know how good that can be. So again, just like to thank everyone for being here. For anyone who is watching the live or the replay, click on the links, reach out to these amazing women if you want to know more. And while you're there, check out sacredyou.love for everything that we have to offer for the soul, and come and talk to us, come and chat to us. Because if you are going down that path where you're not quite sure whether to do, the traditional medicines of today's world, or you need some assistance with something more natural, we have a beautiful, amazing women here who can help you. And do come back next time. So thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.